I'm getting ripped tonight. R.I.P. that. I know metal. Beauty was your armor. Fragile stuff. I'll show. But what's inside you? It's steel. It's brave and unbreakable. And it doesn't need fixing.
Hi, welcome back to Katie Can't Read. I'm Katie, I can read, and we're doing another tag this week. Why are you doing another tag this week, Katie? You did one on Tuesday. Because I'm busy with school. I didn't have any time to plan something else. Frankly, don't have a lot of time to be filming right now. And the editing for this will be lazy. So, you know what? We're just gonna roll with it. I'm also so mentally burnt out from school and life and everything. I am going through 8 stages of burnout right now. But you know what? We're having a good time. We're having a good time and I'm doing great. And I'm uploading this for attention. Just kidding. Cool. So I'm doing the book Addict Tag. Nat from Nerdy Nat Reads tagged me in this in February, and I'm here now doing it. So thank you, Nat, for supplying my content for 3 months later. So this is a tag that was made by someone. I'll find it and I'll link it down below. And it's 14 questions, and we're gonna have a really good time. We're gonna talk about my book addiction. We're gonna talk about it. It is an addiction, I will say that much. Clearly, because here I am with a booktube channel. Okay, so prompt number 1 is, what is the longest amount of time you can comfortably go without picking up a book? Like a day. So if I get really busy and or I'm slumped after a book, I can comfortably be okay, we're taking the day off. We're gonna take a little break for right now. We're just gonna put it on pause. We're gonna come back tomorrow because, reading is fun. And when I'm really busy, I don't want to be reading but thinking about everything else I have to do. So sometimes we do that. Although sometimes I don't want to read anything else. I read a sequel I've been looking forward to, or a book that I really, really loved, and then I'm well, I don't want to read anything else. I just want to read that again. But really, I don't want to read it again. I just want to go back to the high I felt when I was reading that. So, that happened. That actually just happened. I was slumped, I think for 3 days I didn't read anything, except for, my Twitter feed. And I'm finally reading something for a vlog. And, yeah, screw you, Ronan Lynch, for messing it up. But, yeah, I can go about 1 to 3 days. Although, can I just say, BookTube has put such a pressure on me to actively be reading. I'm just well, I didn't read today, guess I should quit my channel. But no, that's not what you're supposed to do. We're having a good time. So yeah, I also do feel a little bit of pressure to read because I have to make content based on books. And you gotta read to make content about books. It's a whole cycle. It's a restless cycle that I hate being trapped in. But I love it because it's very fun and I love to read. But also I'm Problem number 2, how many books do you carry on your person, physical or device, at any one time? Now this is the question, isn't it? So it's somewhere between 0 and 2. Somewhere between 0 and 2. So 0 because a lot of the time I just go to the store, and if I'm just going to Target, I will not be reading. I will not be reading in the Target. I'm there for 10 minutes. I get my Cheerios and I go home. And then I read. But if I'm going somewhere for a day thing, or I'm going with a friend and there might be time to read, I always have a book with me. That started when I was really, really young. I always carried a book with me. I always take 1 book to school, just in case. So I always carry a book with me, but I always have a book on my phone too. I have a Kindle app on my phone, but I don't count those. Because usually if I'm going to pull out my phone, I'm just going to go on Instagram, because I have a problem. But I do always carry my Kindle if I don't have a physical book with me. But usually 1 or 2. If I'm at the end of a book, then I'll carry a second one just in case, or I'll slip my Kindle in there with it so I can be okay, I have other options. but usually one or two. I don't carry around many a book. I don't carry around a library with me at all times. Aha, you're funny. You're so funny. So prompt 3, do you keep every book you buy or receive, or are you happy to pass them on to make space for more? This is such a complicated thing, isn't it? So if I don't like a book, I will 100% give it to someone who's gonna like it, or I donate it to a library, or I give it to a used bookstore or something. I'm very much like, if it's like 2 stars or lower, I will not keep it. But it gets tricky when it's a gift, because I like it when things are gifts. And so if a book is a gift but I end up hating it, then I usually keep it for a while. Like, I give it a good buffer period, like about a year, before I'm like, okay, we can get rid of this. It's like if you get me a book for Christmas that I hate, I will have it until the following Christmas, and then I'll be like, maybe it's okay to let it go. But yeah, I like my bookshelves to be a place where when I look at them, I see only books that make me happy. And when I have a book on there that I didn't like, it sticks out like a sore thumb and makes me very upset. So I usually get rid of books that make me upset. And I will continue to do that for as long as I live. Why keep books you don't like? Life is too short. Question 4, how long would you spend in a bookshop on a standard visit? This is such a question, isn't it? Am I going to buy something? Am I going to browse? Or am I going because I just need to get out of my house and I can't think of anything better to do? Because those are 3 different options. If I am going to buy a specific book I have in my head, it takes me less than 10 minutes. I will be in and out, because if there's a specific book I want to get, I want it as fast as possible so I can go home and read it. Or so I could read it in the car on the way home. Like, there is like nothing holding me back when there's that book I want. If I am exploring a bookstore, if I am just browsing, usually like a half hour. And this is a half hour to an hour, depending on whether or not I have the intention of buying. If I am in there looking for something to buy, then it's about an hour. But if I am there just for fun, it's about a half hour. And that's the same thing with, am I just going to get out of my house? Although sometimes if I'm just going to get out of my house, I'm going to sit on the floor of that Barnes & Noble with an art book open or an architecture book open and just flip pages of Barbie outfits for hours. I have, and will do it again, spent 4 hours in a Barnes & Noble one time just flipping through books. I looked at every shelf. And you know what? Sometimes it's what your mental health needs. And I recommend it. But that's the outlier. We don't count that in the data. Usually about a half hour to an hour in a bookstore. Prompt number 5 is, how much time per day do you actually spend reading? So I lead a very busy life and I do a lot of things, but I do put in my life schedule. I like to read for about an hour a day. So about an hour a day. Sometimes it's in pieces. Sometimes it's all at once. Sometimes it's more. Sometimes I'm able to sit down and read for 3-4 hours a day, and that's beautiful. Like Saturdays, I will read for 4 hours and I will be very happy. But sometimes it's only an hour, and sometimes it's 0. No time. It's hit or miss, but I try to read for about an hour a day. So prompt number 6 is, where does the task picking up a book appear on your daily to-do list? So for me, reading is a hobby, and it's something that is not to give me stress. So I don't usually put it on my to-do list. It's actually usually the reward for finishing my to-do list. It's like, oh, you finished your to-do list? You can read now. And so when I read when I haven't finished my to-do list, I feel very guilty. I sit there and I'm like, you should be doing anything else right now. And so that's a problem, isn't it? But yeah. It's either the first thing I do in the morning, like when I'm waking up, when I'm waiting for school to start, I'll be reading, or it's the last thing I do at the end of the day to wind down before bed, but a lot of times it's both. Prompt number 7 is, how many books do you reckon you own in total, including ebooks? So last time I counted my physical books at home, I had 170 physical books. And I definitely have less than 50 ebooks. So I would say I have roughly 200 books total. That feels right. Feels right to me. Maybe a little more. Maybe we're sitting in the 210 range now. But yeah, we have that many. We have that many. Prompt 8 is approximately how often do you bring up books in conversation? Literally, I never bring it up. I don't like, here's the thing. I am not friends with a lot of readers outside of my booktube friends. I have maybe 2 or 3 friends in my real life that read. None of my family reads. Like, it's very much like I am not, you know, I'm the weird one who reads the books. And so it's like, not that I wouldn't, it's the same reason I wouldn't bring up, like, I would hope no one would bring up, like, football with me. Like, it just wouldn't be a good conversation. Sometimes if someone starts the conversation, like, sometimes, like, my parents will be like, what have you been reading lately? Or, like, a friend will be like, I saw in your close friend's story that you're distressed about a book. Do you need to talk about it? Like, that happens. That happens, but I'm never the one bringing it up. Although after I read Rule of Wolves, I had to, like, literally tell my one friend that I was like, I know you're never gonna read this. You haven't read a book in your entire life. Can I just lay down and rant about what just happened? And I just, like, laid there and cried. And so that happens sometimes too. We have to have therapists. But I very rarely bring it up. It is not the first conversation topic, ever. And if I do bring it up, it's with people that I know have read the same book, and we are going to talk about that one specific book, or they're like, I'm gonna be like, hey, you should read this. Like, that is it. I'm not out here being like, you know what is insightful about Six of Crows to random people. It's just not my vibe. Prompt number 9, what is the biggest book in pages that you've finished reading? Okay, I don't know for sure, but I'm 98% sure that it is Les Miserables by Victor Hugo. I don't know how many pages it is, but it's somewhere around the 1,200, 1,300 page mark. And I read that in middle school and decided I will never read a book that long again. I haven't even read a book that's like well over 600 pages in a long time. Like, it's just not my favorite, but I will. I'm gonna have to soon. Okay, so prompt 10. Is there a book you had to get your hands on against all odds? Search bookstore, online digging, stalked author, etc. First of all, don't stalk authors. Unless you're just really going down like an Instagram stalking hole, like, fine, you know? Like, scroll all of their page. But, like, don't be weird, you know? Don't be weird. Anyway, yes. I have searched high and low for books before, because I recently too, like, not even like a long time, like recently, and this is an often thing for me because many reasons. Number one, I like when if I have a specific image of the book I want in my head, I want that one. So, like, when I was getting a hold of all of the Alice Oseman books, I searched really hard for those for like weeks. I searched really hard for my collector's editions of Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. I looked hard for those. And I think the most recent one that I went really hard searching for was my entire set of the Raven Cycle in hardback. That took me forever. But that was also because I was bargain hunting. So I was looking for all of them for like $5, which is, you know, never the right way to try and find hardcovers in good condition. But it worked. I found all 4 for about $5 a piece. And that, my friends, is how you do it. I also did the same thing about a year ago now with the Heroes of Olympus books. I got the entire set for like $6 a book in like perfect condition, original hardback. And then the same thing with Trials of Apollo and a few others like that. Like, if there's a set, I want them all to match. And I will search high and low for the cheapest way to get the entire set. And I have, and I will. Prompt 11. Is there a book that you struggled to finish because you refused to DNF? Yes. In the simplest, shortest way, yes. Oftentimes that has happened to me. I very much still struggle to DNF books. I have to be very certain I don't want to read it for me to DNF a book. And I didn't DNF for a very long time. I feel like 2 very notable things that I should have DNF'd is number 1, The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. I really should have DNF'd that. I had no fun reading it. I hated reading it. It took me like some insane amount of days to read, like 8 days to read that book, and because I just didn't want to. I would look at it and be like, no, and that's not a good reason to be reading. And then the same thing happened when I was reading 12 Dates of Christmas. I hated that book so much that I should have DNF'd it. I think that is one of the worst books of last year. There's another one too. There's a bunch. Any book that I like give less than like 3 stars, like I should DNF. Number 12 are what are 3 or some of your main book goals for this year? Well, one of my biggest book goals of this year, 2021, was to read all of the Shadowhunter books. We've begun. It's happening. Vlog coming soon. Part one vlog. Yeah, that was one of them. All of my other goals are kind of falling through. I was trying to like read more classics. That's not gonna happen. And I am trying to read 100 books this year, and that's going really well. I'm on my 57th book right now, and it's not even 6 months into the year. So we are doing swimmingly, one would say. That one is me. But yeah, those are like my main goals. One of my bigger book goals was to like make more book friends, and I have done that. So I feel very good about my book goals this year. We're feeling good. I've abandoned the ones I don't want to actually follow through with, and I've kept up with the ones I do want to do. It's going well. Prompt number 13. Have you ever had the privilege of converting someone into a reader by inspiration or your incessant nagging? I think so. I've gotten, since I started this channel, I've gotten a lot of really like random messages from people in high school who were like, wow, I started watching your videos just like, you know, to support or whatever, and I'm reading again because of you. Or like, it's not a lot of the time though that someone becomes a reader out of nothing though. A lot of the time it's like someone who I knew used to read is like, hey, I'm reading again because you've been reading again and you said Red, White, and Royal Blue was good, so I read it and now I need more recommendations. Like, and those messages mean the world to me. I love that. But yeah, I also don't nag people to read, because if you don't like to read, you're not gonna start liking reading. You know what I mean? Like, yes, sometimes there's that one book that changes your entire perspective on reading, and like, absolutely, I think everyone should find that for them. But for a lot of people, reading a book is like pulling teeth, and I don't want someone to be in pain or not enjoying a hobby that I enjoy. Let's all just have our own hobbies and vibe. I mean, I don't like sports. You don't see me sitting at a football game to like, you know, be a sports fan. No, it's just not my vibe. Like, don't do something you hate. Read because you want to read. And if you want to read because of me, good. Please tell me. It makes my ego feel good. Okay, and the last prompt is describe what books mean to you in 5 words. Oh man, I'm bad at words. A good way to escape. That's 5 words, and it's a sentence. Haha, I'm so smart. I thought of another one. I know, metal. Cool. All right, that's all. Please like, subscribe, comment. Tell me about your book addiction. Have I encouraged your book addiction? Stroke my ego. All right. Please like, subscribe, comment. I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye!